Hello, and welcome to the review of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. With me is my not so usual co-host, K-Dog.
Hello?
Yep, that's him. Got a wonderful little voice, doesn't he? Don't you? So we're talking about Batman v Superman, aren't we? Doing a review of it, the first official normal review. It's not like, a podcast that I've ever done. So you have not seen the movie. I have.
Not at all.
So I would say, I just want to say, starting out, if you don't like comic book movies, do not go see this movie, because it's one of the worst comic book movies out there. Not because it's strange. Okay, I could hear that. Where's that?
Okay, hold on. That's my
You're destroying my
Kidding.
review.
my stupid game. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. Restart.
But so it's not because necessarily, like they messed up Batman, they messed up Superman, or it's just they, any of the characters are really, really bad or anything like that. It's just because it's. I'll say this: there was a lot of fear that you may have heard about the movie being too cluttered, that there was going to be too much packed into it because, Batman's in it and Superman's in it and Wonder Woman's in it, and then there's various rumors about, like the Flash is in it and all these other people, and I won't say who is in it and who is not in it. I mean, Batman and Superman are in it, of course, and Wonder Woman's in it because she's in all the trailers, but I will say that the movie feels very cluttered and very inconsistent just because of it has many just constant tone changes. Like there'll be times in which this isn't really much of a spoiler, but there'll be times in which, like, it'll go from Superman to then Batman to Superman to Batman, and it's like they took a Batman movie and a Superman movie and spliced them together, where it's like, and it feels so weird because it's like you're like, okay, sunny Metropolis, and then it's like dark, scary Gotham City where people get brutally murdered in alleyways and stuff like that, and it's just, you're like, should I be sad or should I be really happy, or should I be like, man, Superman, you're such a great guy, or should I be like, man, Batman, you're so right, and Superman's just, he's awful. You know what I mean? It's there's so much inconsistency to it, and it's just, it feels so cluttered because of it, because it felt like they just didn't know what to do. It really feels like they were not sure how, and I don't blame them because it's a movie called Batman v Superman. How do you what do you make that? How do you live that up to that? Like, it's because you're having characters that can have their own movies all to themselves that are very iconic characters, and then you're saying, okay, how do we make those two characters fight and that will satisfy everyone, and at the same time it has to have, like, you know what I mean, like the whole movie can't just be the fight. So it's
Exactly.
they really don't handle it well. It's not that the premise is bad, or it's, like I said, it's just the execution is really the problem with it. It's just the execution. You can see many times where it's just like this. I mean, I think they did a pretty decent decent to good job for what they were going for, because the whole movie is to build the DC universe. You know what I mean? Like, they want to be Marvel. They want to have okay, here's this superhero, and here's this superhero, and here's this superhero, and then they all come together in a big team movie, and like the whole movie, at least a lot of it was just setting up that.
Yeah.
So it's and here's, I will say this though, the acting is phenomenal. There aren't too many times in which I'm like, Man, Ben Affleck, I know he doesn't fit very well saying that line or doing this or doing that. I think Henry Cavill as Superman still works perfectly. He does a great job as Superman. Ben Affleck is possibly one of the best Batmen that have ever been on screen. I wasn't a fan of Christian Bale, so some people might get upset about that, but I could not handle Christian Bale's voice. You know what I mean? Like the where's the bomb? You know, that horrible growly voice. They handle it. His voice is absolutely amazing. It sounds just like you would want it to. You know, it's not him screaming or sounding like grunting like a caveman or anything. He just they do a very good job of making him have a deep voice that sounds like Batman, and you can absolutely tell, hey, that's Batman. And you know that they're many people have talked about this something that happens in the movie, and we'll discuss it in the spoiler talk that'll be in the podcast, which there will be a link to the description, or you can just look on the channel and find that if you want to hear spoiler talk and stuff. This thing that happens in the movie, a lot of people complained, saying that it was, you know, they tried to do something very interesting and cool, and it doesn't. They pull it back. You know what I mean? Like they make you think, oh wow, this is a really interesting idea, and you know, oh, I've never seen this before, and then they kind of just reverse it at the end, making it utterly pointless. But once I you know, in the spoiler talk, when we talk about it, there was zero chance that they were going to keep it the way that they did. The big thing that happens near the end of the movie. And a lot of people complained also about how the trailer, one of the trailers is beat for beat of how the movie plays out. But to me, what is I will say this, I didn't go into this movie expecting the next Godfather or something. You know what I mean? Like I didn't go in thinking, okay, this has to absolutely make me clap and, you know, like give it a standing ovation at the end of this. Yeah. Otherwise, this is a bad movie. I was thinking, okay, this is a movie that's going to be absolutely ridiculous and make probably no sense, but I get to see Superman and Batman fight it out, and that is pretty cool. That is the way you need to view this movie if you want to enjoy it in any way. If you're going to view it as a really remarkable piece of cinema, you're going to be very, very disappointed. Especially if you're thinking, okay, this is going to be one of the best Batman movies / Superman movies of all time. It's not.
Yeah, what would you expect if you're going to watch a movie where it's two, like, Superman versus Batman? What are you going to expect if you want to see the movie? Of course, it's going to be bad because they can't kill off each other.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that, okay, and here's the thing, you know neither of them is going to win. Because that's always the way it works in fights. And that's not even a spoiler, because it's obvious. It's like, for instance, saying, okay, at the end, Batman and Superman are just going to kill each other. No, because they're the biggest characters that DC has, and if they're trying to start this whole universe thing, they can't start it by killing somebody. You know what I mean? Like okay.
You have to have
okay. And here's the other thing. They also have to do a lot of things to just make it so that Batman and Superman are on a somewhat even playing field. You know what I mean? Like okay, if Superman really wanted to kill Batman, let's just talk for a moment about the fight itself, okay? And just the concept of the movie. If Superman really, I mean, like, was just like, okay, I utterly hate Batman and will kill him the first chance I get, Batman would have died a long time ago. Because the only way that Batman can beat Superman is if he has prep time. That's the only way. Like,
Yeah,
for instance, okay, if Superman just comes out of nowhere and just punches him in the face, he's dead.
it
Like, like,
instantly.
like one punch from Superman will instantly kill Batman if he is not prepared. Like, that's what they always do. That's what they do in the comic books. That's what they do in every single fight between Superman and Batman. It's always either Batman immediately loses, or they do something to cheese it so that way Batman gets a bunch of prep time. Like, or
Yeah,
they do this where
exactly.
they're like, okay, Superman is very, very nice, and he's like, Bruce, I don't want to kill you, you're my friend, and I don't kill people, and I'm Superman, I'm the hero, you know what I mean? Like, and then Batman's just like,
Yeah.
I will murder you if I have to. Like, that's usually what they go for, because otherwise there's no chance for Batman, like especially in this movie, Superman could kill Batman at any time. There's actually plenty of points in which he has the chance to kill Batman. And same for Batman. Batman does get the opportunity to kill Superman as well. And I won't tell you what happens, you know. But by all means, guess, because it's a big surprise if Batman or Superman kill one another. But it's and like I said, it's very
Well,
cluttered because Wonder Woman's in it too. Because Wonder Woman is kind of just. And here's the thing: I could probably talk about how Gal Gadot did such a great performance as Wonder Woman and stuff like that. She doesn't act in this movie at all because she's barely in it, and she's just there to be Wonder Woman. You know what I mean? Like she just exists there. Like, she doesn't have any real purpose until kind of the end. And then you're like, okay, so the only reason she was in this movie was so that she could fulfill this requirement at the end of the movie.
yeah.
So it's like I said, if you're a comic book fan, absolutely go see it, because it was fun to get to see Batman and Superman fight, and it was, the special effects were good, and it's always just it's fun, but don't treat it like it should be better. Don't have high expectations for this movie.
Yeah,
That's
it's not
the
gonna be that good.
It's not. Here's the thing. I will say this. I am absolutely having high expectations for Civil War, because Civil War, I do think, is going to be good, because it should be good because Marvel have been around for much longer. They've
Yeah.
perfected their type of movie that they make, and there's Spider-Man in it, which is one of my favorite superheroes of all time. So I think that one's going to be much better. If I suppose that a good way to put it is, if you have the choice of either going to see Batman v Superman or Civil War, go see Civil War. I haven't even seen Civil War, but I'm just gonna call it and say that one is better,
It's gonna be much better. I guarantee that.
because it's there's just and here's the other thing. Okay, I've with Batman v Superman coming out and Civil War coming out too, I've kind of begun to realize that the differences between DC and Marvel and their characters and what it is that they are, their purposes, and what they're kind of supposed to be. Marvel and all their heroes are supposed to be like people. They are
Yeah.
supposed to be like actual human beings with powers. While DC's thing, the only way I can compare it to is if they're like Greek gods. You know what I mean? They are gods among men, basically, is the kind of premise. Even Batman is still in many ways like it has powers. You know what I mean? Because he can do stuff that no human being without any. I mean, there's no way you could know every language on the planet and master every martial art and know every skill by the age of 30. You know what I mean? It would be absolutely impossible, and all the things he survives are impossible too. So, I mean, it's Marvel is, I felt, is always more relatable because of like characters like Spider-Man. Like, for instance, okay, Spider-Man is probably the most relatable character in in comic books. He's probably the most relatable superhero that there is, because he's just an average guy. You know what I mean? He doesn't have, he's not a rich billionaire, or like, I think Iron Man's one of the most unrelatable characters, which people would argue, but you can't relate to like Bruce, to like Batman, because you haven't lost your parents in an alleyway and
Yeah.
sworn vengeance upon, you know what I mean? Like Peter
Yeah.
Parker was just a dude who got superpowers, and he did what everyone would do. He would goof off with them. He would be funny. He wouldn't take everything, super seriously. He would be a human being with if you got powers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that separates Marvel and DC. So, and that's not to diss DC in any way, to say that they're worse because they don't have. I like DC plenty. I think that it's always cool to get to see such huge, colossal characters like Superman. You know what I mean? Like Superman is the best way I can describe Superman is like, what if you all of a sudden had like the powers of a god? What would you do? What would you do if you could save anyone, anywhere? If you could do nearly anything, what would you do with all that? And it's interesting to see, just some like how Superman has to deal with that, because in some ways you think, and you see this in the movie too. You think in some ways he should save the whole. He should just be Superman all the time. He shouldn't be ever Clark Kent. He should just save the world constantly. You know what I mean? Like, he should stop every murder everywhere all the time, 24/7, never sleeping, never stopping. You know what I mean? Because he can, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yet at the same time, you view it as you also think, if I was him, I would just leave. I just would forget about all of it. You know what I mean? You just live your life, and because no one's going to, no one should blame you for wanting a normal life. Like, like you didn't ask for crazy powers to do almost anything. So, like I said before, if you like comic book movies, go see Batman vs. Superman. If you don't see it. I am Teddy
The
Jenkins,
reason
and this is K-Dog. Thank you